parallel realities, quantum jumping, energetic cord cutting, astrology, tarot readings, psychics. You know what's funny? We put more faith in all of that shit that I just named than we actually do in putting faith in ourselves. Do you realize none of that stuff works without you? You are the ultimate power. It's no different than, for instance, a lawnmower. A lawnmower can only work if a human is put it together. A lawnmower can only work if a human is driving it. Outside of that, the lawnmower really has no purpose. The lawnmower has no power. I mean, the lawn isn't going to cut itself. The lawnmower isn't going to drive itself. It needs a human to drive it. Although now we got Elon Musk, I wouldn't be surprised if within the next decade we had self-driving lawnmowers for sure. I say all of that stuff to say all of those things that I named to start this video off, none of those things have power unless you give it power. When I first started off my LOA journey and I was learning about all of this stuff, I never gave a fuck about parallel realities. I never gave a fuck about quantum jumping. I never gave a fuck about cord cutting. People come to me and they be like, Marv, do you believe in cord cutting? I think I'm energetically gonna cut the cord to break the bonds of my past. What about tarot, Marv? Do you believe in tarot cards? Tarot readings? I went to go get a tarot reading and the card that they pulled for me was a black horse. And the lady told me that my future was gonna look like you, Marv. Black and grim. Yo, listen, fuck all that shit. I understood from the very beginning, I am the power. That I am. That I am is something that you hear continuously throughout religion. You read the Bible, you continuously hear it in books like Neville, or if you hear Abraham Hicks or any of these great teachers, that I am power. I understood that I am the power. Not tarot cards, not cord cutting. I am the power. You know, I think it was in Florence Scovel Shinn's book. She had mentioned about a guy who, if he had believed in tarot card readings, that he would have been dead years in advance because one of his tarot cards had him dying very early on or something like that. But he didn't believe in it. And he went on to live a longer, healthier life because he didn't believe in a tarot card that was presented to him. Whatever you're manifested in your life, all you have to understand and remember is that you are the power. You are the vessel for anything to be used. And so you get to dictate what's going to have power and what doesn't have power. So understand all of these terms that were created in the past, or all of these terms that were presently created that people make up in the SP community or the LOA community, whatever, all of these terms are for one thing and one thing only, to help get you to believe. Don't overcomplicate manifestation. All of these terms, like I said, past or present or techniques, they are all here to help get you to believe. Some people don't even need to do techniques in order to believe. They just believe. That's the ultimate level, is when you don't need to do none of this shit. You just automatically believe, yo, I'm good. That means you have an ironclad mind and you are just impregnable, untouchable, like Mike Tyson in the 80s.
My defense is impregnable.
Realistically speaking, you don't need to know about parallel realities. You don't need to know about quantum jumping or cord cutting. You don't need to know about any of that. You don't need to do any of that because you can still get what you want even without knowing about any of that stuff. Because those terms that I just said, those were not terms 2,000 years ago. But yet somehow, some way, people were still able to do what they did and manifest. So to all of you out there watching this video, I don't want you to get caught up in all of these terms and all of these techniques and you think, oh, I'm doing it wrong. Manifestation was, has been, and currently is still all about what is going to get you to believe. Period. Whatever is going to help you get to a point that you believe something is going to happen or that something has already happened, do that shit. Whatever is going to help you feel natural, easy, do that shit. Whatever you can do a lot of and it doesn't feel like a job, but you enjoy doing it, so therefore you can do a lot of it, do that shit. Remember, you are the one that gives said thing power. Tarot cards have no power over you. Psychics have no power over you. Don't give your power to none of that stuff, in my opinion. And when it comes to working with SP coaches or just LOA coaches in general on whatever you're working with them on, don't give them power over your life or with what happens to your life, with what they say, unless it's strictly about them helping you, holding you accountable. Part of the reason that coaching can be so effective for some of you, even in the worst ways, is because when you go to a law of assumption coach, you are believing whatever it is that they're telling you, especially if it's somebody that you really admire, somebody that has a big following, somebody that has helped a bunch of people, and you listen to everything they say and you take that as gospel. But you have to remember, whatever a coach tells you, it really has no effect over you unless you allow it to have an effect over you. And I also want you to remember that a lot of these coaches have been wrong. I have religiously said in the past, and I will continue to religiously say, most of y'all, you guys do not need coaching when it comes to techniques necessarily. Doing this technique, doing that technique. Y'all all know the techniques. What a lot of y'all need help with, most importantly, number one, is being held accountable. Most people, when they are left to their own devices, they have no discipline at all. You see this every year with New Year's. Everybody's like, oh, the New Year's coming. I'm going to set all these goals. I'm going to do all this stuff. And before January's up, they've stopped. If they didn't stop in January, they're definitely probably going to stop in February. It's statistically proven that most people don't hold their New Year's resolutions. They don't keep that shit. The facts of the matter are, in my opinion, is most people that try to embark on something, especially if you're doing it by yourself, there is probably a 90% chance that you're not going to finish and you're going to quit at some point. And most likely that point is going to be very early on. That's why people hire trainers when they go to the gym, because they know I don't have the discipline to go to the gym by myself to lift weights 3-4 days a week or to go run that mile that I'm supposed to run. I need somebody to push me and to hold my hand and say, go get this mile done. Because if it's up to me, I'm hitting the snooze button every day and I'm not getting up to do that. That's why people hire nutritionists to help them with their meal planning and what to eat in order to lose weight and all of that type of stuff. That's why people hire business coaches to keep them on track, to say, yo, make sure you hit your numbers this year, or you got to adjust this right here. People need to be held accountable. Most people need to be held accountable. They do not have what it takes to do this stuff on their own. Now, if you're in a group, 2, 3, 4 more people, now you are increasing your odds of staying consistent, because now you have one person, or you have at least 2, 3 people that are holding you accountable on achieving whatever said goal is, whatever the destination. So like I said, most people, they need coaching, in my opinion, LOA coaching or whatever other coaching, they need it for the accountability aspect. Number two, what most people in the LOA community need help with outside of that is identifying their subconscious blocks. If you are going to work with an LOA coach, in my opinion, you should not work with a coach just so they can help you with a technique. That's easy. You're paying money. You're wasting money if you're working with a coach just so they can give you affirmations or give you a visualization. That's not real coaching. Real coaching is, like I said, number one, holding you accountable. And number two, helping you really figure out subconscious blocks that are stopping you from being able to manifest things and to keep them. Because in my opinion, these are the top 2 reasons why most people fail at manifesting an SP or whatever. It's because the lack of accountability, mentally undisciplined, and number 2, they're not really attacking their subconscious beliefs. They're not revising, in a sense. They're not going back to the past and saying, oh, I gotta fix this. I gotta look this over. They're not doing none of that stuff. If you want to call it revision, cool. If you want to call it shadow work, cool. You know, it's funny. The other day I was watching something. I forget what I was watching. It might have been something with the P. Diddy trial. I think they were talking about Cassie and her going to therapy or whatever. And I think they had mentioned that she had did EDMR. If you don't know what EDMR is, look it up. I'm not going to go into it in this video. Do you guys realize that EDMR is basically revision, and that is a therapy modality? This is why you constantly hear Tim and I say, all of this shit is the same, no matter how you try to slice it. People say, oh, I don't need to do shadow work. Well, okay, cool. Go ahead, say that. But if you look at Neville Goddard constantly said, well, I can't say he constantly said, but Neville Goddard said that the cause of evil are the unrevised scenes of the past. So you need to revise them. Again, he didn't call it EDMR, but when you look at what EDMR is and what it consists of and how it works, essentially, that's what it is. You're revising the past. And the way that EDMR is done is it types into the subconscious aspect, like a Joe Dispenza would talk about constantly at his resorts and seminars. So that completely debunks all of you out there saying,
I don't need therapy. Therapy's not LOA. Neville Goddard said I don't need to do shadow work.
psst, you, come here. Do me a favor. Shut the fuck up for life. And this is why so many of you stay stuck, is because you keep listening to these idiots in the comment section, or some of these coaches that think they know what LOA is and think, oh, yo, you don't have to do that. All you got to do is this. So again, the main things you need to worry about is being held accountable with whatever routine you are going to choose or whatever technique you're going to choose. Be held accountable with doing that said routine or technique or whatever the case may be. And number 2, figuring out what your subconscious blocks really are, because that really is the key. Unlocking and getting your subconscious mind awakened and open is really the key to helping things come into reality way quicker, because getting rid of your subconscious blocks allows you to 10x your belief system. So therefore, when you do a technique or when you decide, I believe in something, I believe something's going to happen, it allows that belief to come into fruition very quickly. And the unseen is now seen.